So yesterday we have seen exception handling. Yesterday we have seen the exception handling. We are just today we will start with the following topic with the exception handling only. So this is related to exception handling only. Okay, but what we are going to learn with this thing is, okay, so the new thing or what we are going to start here is, let's say we'll start with user defined exception. Okay, so user defined exception, that means you can create your own exceptions. Okay, you can create your own exceptions. Okay, so we have seen some lot of exceptions like IO exception, then we have, let's say array index out of bounds exception, arithmetic exception, and so many other exceptions we can see, or we can, okay. So but if sometime we want to create our own exception, how we can create that? Okay, so basically when we say user defined exception, user defined exception is a concept in which we can create user defined exception class, okay, containing suitable messages. So we can give the suitable messages as well. Okay, and defined by the user, so we can define that. Okay, so user defined exception class always inherits from exception class containing the method toString. Okay, so basically we will what we are going to do is we will inherit exception class. Okay, so as I already told you while explaining the generalized exception, how we can use generalized exception, because we inherit exception class is a super class of all the exception classes. Okay, so we use exception class. Okay, so exception class is super class of all the exception classes. Okay, so sorry, exception class is, let's say, super class of all exception classes. Okay, exception classes, and that is why what we will do is we will inherit. Okay, so we will inherit, okay, exception class to create, okay, user defined exception. Okay, we will create or we will inherit exception class to create user defined exception. Okay, and this will generally have a toString method. Okay, so toString is required to convert that into a string message. Okay, so and we can say the by creating user defined exceptions, we can give handle the situations, different situations which are not there already handled. Okay, or we can try other stuff. Okay, and we can give the customized messages. Okay, so let me start with a simple example, or what we will do is we will just start with a simple example here. Okay, what I'll do is sorry, I'll save it later. Okay, so for an example, we will just create a class. Now what we will do is we will create, let's say, a class called, let's say, I'll call it my, sorry, my exception. Okay, I'll call it my exception, and it will extend. Okay, so I'll say extends. Okay, so we use extends keyword to inherit. We use extends keyword to inherit the classes. Okay, so I'll explain that again when we'll see the inheritance. Okay, so I'll say exception. Okay, so we inherit the class. Okay, so now the exception class we have inherited. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just create a simple variable, let's call it n. Okay, and I'll create a constructor. Okay, so here I'll create a constructor. Okay, I'll create a constructor for that class. Okay, so let's say my exception, here I'll pass, let's say I'll have a variable, let's call it 1 in n1. Okay, so we will accept a value, okay, as a parameter. Then let's copy that value, so n1 to n. Okay, so let's copy the value of n1 into n. Okay, so that's a simple constructor we have written here. Then let's write a toString method. So we are basically going to override toString method. Okay, and Java 6 onwards, it always asks us to write an annotation. So I'll write override. Okay, let's say override. I'll write the annotation. Okay, so and I'll write, let's say, public, let's call it string. Okay, and the method is toString. Okay, so a string method, that's again a string method which we will inherit. Okay, this is again a string method which we are going to inherit. Okay, so this is a string method of it's a method from string class. We are just sorry, overriding it. and we will return a simple message. Let's say return, and let's call it like this. Okay, so I'll return a simple message. Let's call it, let's say my exception, okay, is, let's say, negative value. Okay, so we will say negative value equals, let's say, sorry, equals, and let's concatenate with the n. Okay, so we'll just use that n. Apologies, here it should be return. Okay, so we will return those values. So this is class 1. This is the one we have created our own exception now. Okay, so here we have created our own exception now. Okay, so for this, let's write a small use case program. Okay, for this, let's write a small use case program or test program. Okay, so I'll just save it as a, let's say, my exception. Okay, .java. So we have saved it, my exception.java. Now we will use this program to check or throw the exception. Okay, fine. So let's check, or let's write another class or test class now. Okay, so we will just test that exception now. Okay, so let's write, let's say, class, or let me write it first. So test, sorry, test class for defined exception. Okay, so let's say class, I'll call it mtp, that means mock test program. Okay, so let's say so basically what we are going to do here is, okay, we will create or we will write a small test program. Okay, so we will write a small test program for, let's say, factorial. You might have uh, tried factorial in C++. Okay, so we will try to write a small program for factorial. Okay, and we know that, okay, the when we say factorial, the factorial of negative number does not exist. Factorial of negative number does not exist, so that's why we will just write it the way. Okay, so we will try to write it in that way. Okay, so let's say I'll write a static method here because okay, so static, let's say we will say integer, we need to return a factorial. So let's say I'll say factorial, sorry, yeah, factorial. Okay, and then let's say integer n, so factorial of integer n. Okay, now here I'll use two keywords. One is throws. Okay, and I'll say my exception. Okay, throws my exception. Whenever we write here like throws, okay, so uh, okay, so whenever we create function, and after function, if you say throws, if you use some throws, if you use throws keyword, and if you name some exception, so that here you are explaining it to compiler, or if you're telling it, or you're informing it to compiler that this method will throw an exception, this method will throw an exception. Okay, so for this, let's say we'll have to write it in. Okay, so we will throw. Okay, so this will throw. Okay, so whenever we call that method, so जब भी हम इस method को call करेंगे, so whenever we will call that method, we will have to use try and catch. We will have to use try and catch. Okay, so we cannot use it without try and catch. Okay, if you see, if you remember, I had shown you the thread.sleep. Okay, so in thread.sleep, again, why we use try catch? Okay, so because sleep method throws interrupted exception. Okay, so it is defined like this only. Okay, so let's say sleep throws interrupted exception, so it is defined in that way only. So here we are defining, let's say, factorial, which throws my exception. It is going to throw my exception. Okay, so let's say then integer, we will calculate the factorial. So let's say factorial equals to, we'll start with 1. Okay, and let's check now. Let's say if n is less than 0, if n is less than 0, the factorial does not exist. So what we will do here is we will now throw. Okay, we will now throw the my exception. Okay, so let's create an object for that. So new my exception, and we will pass that n here. Okay, so n will go. Okay, so here we are getting that n here we will be, so we will get that n here. We are checking that n, if it is not less than 0 means if it is not, if it is the negative number, okay, if it is the negative number, we will directly throw the my exception, we will directly throw the my exception. Okay, else if there is no negative number, if negative, it's not negative, okay, let's calculate the factorial. So let's say for integer, let's say I equals to 1, I less than, let's say, equals to n. Okay, so we have to calculate up to n, then I plus plus. Okay, and let's do it like this. Okay, so let's say factorial equals to fact, okay, into I, into I. Okay, so we have to write it like that. Okay, sorry, yeah, fact into I. Okay, so we can write it like that, and let's return that now. Okay, so we have to return that value. Okay, so return, let's say fact. Okay, return factorial, so we will return that factorial. Fine, so this is how we have just created a simple method. This is how we will create a simple method. Sorry, it shouldn't be here, it should be out of the else. Okay, so we have to return that. Okay, so it should be out of else. Okay, yeah, so now we have returned the value. Okay, wait, now what we have to do is we'll have to call that method. So again we will write, let's say, public static void main. Okay, so let's call it string arg. Okay, and we'll say, let's say, now we have to call that in try and catch. Okay, because we will be calling those methods. Okay, so let's use try first. Okay, so let's write like this. Okay, and okay, so let me call that, let's say, system dot out. Okay, dot print ln. Okay, and I'll call that method, let's say, factorial, sorry, factorial of let's say 5. Okay, so factorial of 5 is 125, 5 into 5 into 5 into 5 into 5. Okay, so you can say it's 625, sorry, so whatever number we will get. Okay, and I'll just use the same number. Okay, so let's say after 5 we will say -5. Okay, so just to check. Okay, and now let's say catch. Okay, so here we will say exception, or you can directly say my exception. So let's write exception and e. So we'll just keep it generalized here. Okay, so okay, and here we will, let's say, print the simple message. Okay, so we will print the let's say we will simply print e. Okay, we will simply print e, and again let's give me a simple message. Okay, uh, this is user defined exception demo. Okay, something like that. Okay, so we just printed a test stuff here. Okay, so let's call save it now. Okay, so let's it was mtp. Okay, so I think I already have one. Okay, I'll override that. Okay, so replace it. Okay, so we have replaced it. So mtp is there. Then let's compile it now. So we'll go to e drive. Okay, cd java programs, let's say java c mtp.java. Okay, so it's compiled, there is no error. Okay, it's compiled, there is no error. Okay, now let's execute that. So let's say java mtp. Okay, and if you can see it's showing me that, okay, the factorial of 5 is, let's say, means when I say factorial of 5, it's 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. Okay, so it's 120. Okay, but when I say -5, it's showing me an exception, my exception negative value -5. Okay, and if you can see, we are getting the last statement as well, that is, this is user defined exception demo. Okay, so that was a last statement, that was just a test statement. Okay, so we just wanted to check whether the other statements goes executes or not. Okay, so it is also executed. Okay, so that is how we can just get all the stuff. Okay, so let me go back to this my exception. Okay, so sorry, what we will do here is we will first inherit the exception class. So what we have to do is we have to first inherit the exception class. Okay, So when we inherit the exception class, okay, we can create any exception. Okay, so we have inherited this exception class, okay, extends exception. Okay, so we'll say extends exception, and this will inherit the exception class. So I'm creating my exception or user defined exception. Okay, so here we have simply taken a integer variable, we created a constructor, we created a constructor. Okay. And then we create override. Okay, we override the simple method of toString, okay, which is from string class. Okay, which is from string class. So we just override that method. Okay, and we are returning our own statement. Okay, so we are just sending our own message. Okay, so we are saying my exception, okay, negative value and n. Okay, exactly same, the message is printed here, my exception colon negative value equals to -5. Okay, so -5 it is printing it here. Okay, and here in MTP what we have done is we have used a combination of throws and throw, two keywords. So when we say throws, it basically uh, tells the compiler that okay, this method will throw an error, this method will throw an error. Okay, so compiler will force you to write it in try and catch. Okay, so compiler will force you to write it in try and catch. Okay, so that is the way to do it. So if you want to restrict some user to use the particular code in try or catch only, okay, or particular method, okay, so you can always define throws and some exception there, so that people will always use it in try and catch. Then throw will actually throw that exception, this throw keyword will actually throw that exception. Okay, so when I say throw new my exception, so here basically I'm passing the object of my exception class, I'm passing the object of my exception class and the value. Okay, so this value goes to constructor, and that how the it works. Okay, so this is how we can just do that. Okay, and we just call those methods factorial method for two times. For first is 5, so calculate it's like, okay, so when we say factorial, so it will like, let's say 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. Okay, so it will print the value. Okay. But when we say negative value, so negative value, let's say it doesn't exist. Okay, so the factorial for negative value doesn't exist. Okay, so that's why we should we have used this. So we have created my exception, or let's say user defined exception. Okay, so hope you have understood how we create the user defined exceptions, okay, in Java. Okay, so user defined exception in Java. Okay, this is again very easy and the simple way to create it or try it. Okay, because and a lot of time in actual scenario or actual practice. Okay, in so many projects we have to create a lot of user defined exceptions. Okay, so user defined exceptions. Okay, so hope you have understood that and there's no doubt or confusion with this. Okay, if you have any doubt or confusion, just let me know. If you guys have any doubt or confusion with this, just let me know. Guys, can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay. So we have any confusion with this? Guys, do you have any confusion with this? Because a lot of people initially get confused with this topic, so that's why I'm asking. Okay. Okay, fine. We have a question from, okay, we have a question that why we use static while defining int n, or here you are basically going to ask that, you are asking that question, that why we define this function as static. Okay, is that your question? Okay, yeah, so that's what. Okay, so see, if you remember, when we initially when I declare or explained the public static void main or main method. Okay, So public is, let's say, access specifier. Static is a keyword which we use. Then we use generally uh, the return type, okay, and we say main, okay. So the function name. So here again we are using the similar, let's say it's like this. So it's like public, okay, it's like sorry, it's like public, then we say static int and factorial, okay. So this is public, then static int and factorial. Public is access specifier, then static method I have defined it, and then the return type is integer. Return type is integer because it is returning an integer value 120, okay. So when we calculate, we are returning that integer value, okay, or we have to return that, okay. So we are using int, okay. But why we use static? See, the main is static, main is static, okay. And if I want to call that function in main, okay, being main is static, it will not or we will not be able to call the non-static members, okay. So if I don't define it as static, if I remove this, okay, and if I compile this again, let's say compile, okay, see, I'm getting an error. Okay. Non-static method factorial cannot be referred, okay, referenced from static context, cannot be referred from reference from static context, okay. So main is static, okay, and this function is now not means, or this is non-static, okay. So we cannot call non-static members, okay, whether it is a variable or function, okay, or anything, okay. We cannot call non-static members from static context, okay. So that's why we declared is static, okay. I don't want it to create another class to call those methods, okay. So that's why I just I have just written all those things in the same class. So otherwise, what you, if you don't want to declare it static, what you have to do is you have to write this method in another class. Let's say you will write a factorial class, and then you will write without writing static, and then here you will create the object of those factorial class and call the method, okay. So two things, I don't want it to create the another class, and I don't want it to create object to call the function, okay. So I just kept it static, because when we say static, okay, we don't want to create the object again. It is in the same class, so I don't need to create object now, okay. And I can call it in static member function, okay. So because main is static. Hope you got the answer. Throw and throws, okay, let me explain throw and throws again, okay. So whenever I declare any method as throws, okay, fine, let me do one thing. I'll just remove this try, try, okay. I'll just call it like this, and I'll just comment this method, okay, fine. So now I haven't declared this in try and catch, okay. So whenever, what happens is, basically whenever we write any function, or whenever we write throws after any function, so this basically intimates your compiler that, okay, this function will throw an error, this function can throw an error, okay, or this function may throw an error, okay. So you should always write it in try and catch, okay. So let me compile that again, and we will see the error, okay. So let's say mtp.java, okay. See, we are getting an exception, okay. We are getting a, sorry, error, okay. So unreported exception, my exception, must be caught or declared to be thrown, okay. So it is giving me that okay, here we should we haven't uh, handled it, okay. So on both these lines, it's giving me error that, okay, we should handle it. It is unreported exception, you have to report it, okay. Means you have to use the try and catch, because if you don't do that, okay, it will directly show you the error, okay. So this is where I'm uh, uh, telling my this is where I'm telling the Java compiler that, okay, if anyone uses this method, they should use try and catch, because this method may throw an exception, okay. This method can throw an exception, because if user passes a negative value, this method will throw an exception. If it is not a negative value, then it's okay, but we never know, so we are explaining, or we are informing, let's say, compiler that, okay, if anyone is using this method, ask them to use report that exception, or ask them to handle the exception. That means use the try catch, otherwise they may face a problem, okay. So that's what we do it here. And throw keyword will actually throw that exception. Throw keyword will actually throw that exception. Okay, so throw will actually throw that exception. That is how it works. Okay, so throws keyword is a Java language, a keyword of Java language, which is used to throw the information of exception and are from called function. Okay, so it is respective calling function of, let's say, catch block. So catch, from catch block it will, let's say, work. Okay, so whenever it checks, it will do it like that. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so that's how it works. So throw and throws. So throw will actually throw it. Okay, so whenever there is an exception, okay, so let's me rewrite it. Okay, so yeah, so it's there back. So whenever there is exception will occur, okay, so exception will occur. Okay, and here this throw will throw it. Okay, okay, so it will jump to this throw method and it will throw that exception. So that is why we were getting that message that, okay, 120 was executed here, 120 was executed. Okay, I mean, this statement was executed, and for this statement the exception occurred, so we were getting that message. Okay, my exception negative value minus 5, minus 5. Okay, so that's how it works. Hope you got the answer. Why do we use new keyword in line number 9? Line number 9, new keyword. Okay, so if you remember, we had created an object. Okay, so here again I am creating an anonymous object. Okay, this is just an anonymous object we have created. This is just an anonymous. Okay, so this is just an anonymous object I have created, because see, throw I need to pass an object. What I can do is I can say, let's say my exception, let's say, let's call it exp, or name of object, let's say. Okay, or let's call it obj, simple. Okay, and then I'll create, let's say, new my exception. Okay, I'll pass n here. Okay, and then like semicolon. And instead of this, now what I can do is I can pass that obj here. Okay,